Hey folks, and welcome to Drinking Alone with Friends, a podcast where three friends drink alone together. My name's Chris.
What up? It's Tud.
And I'm Obert.
And I'm back. My internet's back up and running. You know, after the last time when I died in the middle of the recording, I'm here, I think. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you for now.
Yeah.
We'll see how long it lasts.
Just an FYI, my rating of that beer is a 4.11.
Okay, it's been so long, I don't even remember what the beer was.
I don't even remember you drinking a beer. I think we just filled something in for you. You lost a point or two, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
10 points. I don't know.
Sometimes the internet gods giveth, and sometimes they taketh away. So them's the breaks, I guess, for me.
That's true.
They take this away, I guess.
No, good to have you back. Good to be back.
I know.
Yeah. Sobuary, we talked about it last episode. Sobuary continues / begins, depending on your definition of Sobuary.
Well, I mean, this is our first February episode, so I would say that it begins now.
Yes, if your definition of Sobuary is the month of February, then yes, it begins now. Some people define it as January.
Right. I mean, the real hardcores do it January.
Right.
Yeah.
Like February is like the beginner level Sobuary, right? Because it's a little bit shorter. You know, you have to go as long without beer.
It depends on how important the Super Bowl party is to you. I think.
You know what? I did not think of that.
It's part of the reason I've
said
done
this
February.
on a previous Sobuary conversation. But you'll always find an excuse. There's always something going on in the month to drink.
I mean, January's pretty easy. There's not a lot going on in January besides New Year's.
President's Day.
Yeah, MLK Day.
Yeah, but the Super Bowl is different. Like that's like
Boxing Day, I think, is
it's like
there?
a drink. No, that's the day after Christmas.
Oh, never mind. Not Boxing Day.
But I think January is the easiest one of all the months. I think because there's not a lot happens. February you have the Super Bowl. March you have St. Patrick's Day
And my
April,
birthday.
Yep, and your birthday. April you have April showers. And then in May you have the May flowers.
Right, obviously.
Yeah, you got Cinco de Mayo, you know.
Yep. That's also a good reason.
Cuatro de Abril.
You have in June. I don't know maybe June's another one you could do it in. But then it's summer.
It's getting warm, though.
Yeah, you gotta drink in the
summer's
summer.
out. You're going to be drinking.
Yeah,
in the
July,
summer.
you have July 4th. August, my birthday. September, Obert's birthday.
October
Oktoberfest,
Festapalooza.
October.
Thanksgiving, Veterans Day.
In October, you've got Halloween, which that's a drinking day.
You could just wait till after midnight to start drinking at the Halloween party.
It's true. Sober October is also a thing. But
Yeah.
fall, it's always good to drink fall beers in fall. Again, as we discussed, the winter season's kind of, the beers are okay.
Yeah, if you're going to pick a season to not drink beer, yeah, I think January, February is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Minus the Super Bowl. You could take a break. You gotta keep your liver at least. It's got to stay viral a little bit. So
Yeah. But we did just have this conversation in the last episode. So
well, I wasn't part of it though.
You were. It was the intro.
Oh.
Yeah. We talked probably for about just as
Remix.
long about not drinking.
Listen, I went through a
in
lot that last
February
episode.
month.
My computer died. The internet died. I don't remember what happened.
Yeah. Our listeners hopefully do, especially the listeners that binge listen.
True.
I mean, hopefully they don't, I think, is what we want.
Listen, we're trying to incentivize them to listen as it comes out. Don't binge.
Yeah. If you are listening, you didn't repeat last episode. This is a different episode. We didn't just release it again. But yeah, I'm not partaking in February. I'm drinking. I'm abstaining from the abstaining holiday. You mind if I get into it? If I crack open a beer?
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
I got one I'm excited about this week. It's from our friends in the north, not Canada, the other north, Alaskan Brewing Company. This is their 2022 smoked porter. It says gold medal beer brewed in the last frontier. Enjoy it now or age it for several years.
Did you get this in Alaska?
I aged it for a year. No, I don't remember. I think I just got this at the local store. You can find Alaskan all around like the Northwest. I think I remember hearing about this beer on like some best of states lists or something like that. This seems like the beer that they put out with the intention of being like a more sellerable beer. So picked it up and said, we'll see how long it'll last in the fridge. The answer was at least a month. But yeah, it's a smoked porter. I don't know how much there is more to say about it. Not much more on the bottle.
I'm
no
impressed
fancy wax.
that you kept it that long.
We talked about this, I think, an episode or two ago. Now that we're doing it just every other week, sometimes it's hard to get through your good beers, if you're saving them for the podcast. I couldn't wait for the Mai Tai, so that's why I did that as the patron episode.
By the way, on a related note to beer, obviously, I have some cool stuff coming.
Okay. Tantalizing, little bit of a teaser from Tud for 3 episodes from now.
No,
2 episodes from now.
I'm not. I'm participating in February this week, but I'm not participating in all of February. So I think.
Hang on. Okay.
I think for reasons we're not going to get into on the podcast, I'm abstaining from alcohol this week. But
okay.
But we've got some stuff.
Okay.
A Valentine's Day IPA at that too, which is pretty cool.
All right. Well, anyway, let me pour this beer. The smoked porter from Alaska. You guys ever been to Alaska?
No.
I have not.
I've only met one Alaskan my entire life.
Yeah. See a significant number of Alaska plates in Montana and vice versa, I think. It's like, I've been told it's basically like Montana on steroids. Total crisp pour this beer, by the way. I'm not showing the co-hosts because it's
nice.
That bad of a pour.
I'm very upset. Like, we're like hundreds of episodes into this podcast, and neither one of you guys know how to pour beer.
Well, the problem is sometimes I do it for the audio experience, and louder beer pours are not necessarily the most efficient beer pours. I'll say that. It does, however, release a lot of the aromatics, which is what my excuse is for pouring a beer poorly.
But yeah, that's also Chris's excuse.
Yeah. I do like how it is a universal term, though, that if you were to say crisp pour, everyone would know what that means. I'm really liking the aroma. Sometimes the smoked beers, it's hard to get it just right. I did like a smoked s'mores beer before. Other smokier beers have gone overboard. We had I think you had the Grodzitsky. One of you guys had that one.
Yep.
That one was good, but sometimes it's a very delicate flavor.
Oh, that was that one that I had from
correctly.
Fox Farm, right? That smoked like lager thing.
Yeah, that was I think a collaboration with that brewery down in Texas, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, but I think I've stalled enough. The head settled down. Yeah, all I can really get on the nose is the smokiness. Let's see if I get more flavors as I dive in. Oh, hang on.
Yeah, you got to do the dinosaur
test.
It's
been too long. It's almost like the dinosaur was looking through a very smoky room. Wouldn't see this. That's how dark this beer is.
It's good. You're safe from dinosaurs within that beer.
They would get lung cancer before they could find me.
Which we all know.
Cheers.
That's how dinosaurs actually went away. They all got lung cancer.
Smokers. They were all smokers.
Red Solo Cup, I fill you up. Let's have a party. Let's have a party.
Interesting. I thought it was going to be a much heavier bodied beer, but it is very, it's not a very thick, viscous beer. It's very light bodied, even though it does pack that smoky flavor.
So 1C.
Yes. THIK maybe even.
Ooh. No C's.
Which is still thicker than THIN, but it has a very strong iron, almost blood taste that I get, or maybe copper,
Is that good?
Sometimes you get that metallic flavor in some of these smokier porters. Not the biggest fan of that, but
when you describe something as blood, I instantly am like, I don't want to drink that anymore.
You ever get that iron flavor in beer?
I think that's when I'm like, I don't really like this beer.
Yeah, I get it in bottled beers a lot.
I think you guys are.
I
think you guys are buying beers from vampires.
Maybe.
Yeah, I almost only deal with vampires when I purchase beers exclusively owned and operated by the vampire courts.
The bottle shop I go to, hours just say sunset to sunrise, so I don't know. This is a different beer. It's kind of unique. I haven't had a lot of beers like this. I don't know if it's something I would reach for again. Something I'd be happy to have as a flight, option because it's different. But I'm not adding this to my regular rotation. You know what I mean? It's different than all the pastry stouts or super heavy, barrel-aged stouts. This is not that heavy. But I don't love it either. Like I said, it's actually a little dry, honestly. Not a descriptor I use very often when I'm describing dark beers like this. It doesn't normally has that richness. This doesn't. It's like I said, it's thin or THIK and really leaves your mouth dry. It's interesting. But that does wash the flavor away. You can keep sipping this beer. I think these 22 ounces will go pretty quick. All that being said, this is a 3.25 from me. Not my favorite. Still above a 3, but I feel like I've been giving out a lot of 3.5 lately. I gotta rein that in. This is not as good as some of the other 3.5, 3.75s I've had on the pod.
Okay. So out of 291 check-ins, what do you think the Untapped Diverse thinks of it?
So this did win a gold medal for something.
I love how it's just a nondescript gold medal.
Just says gold medal beer right on the label, right? Like
maybe it's gold medal, like they put gold medal in the beer.
Oh,
that's the
it's
flavor
like
you're
Goldschlager.
getting. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I can tell you that it does not say that on their description on Untapped.
Yeah. I think that Untapped thinks it's fine. Just like, okay. I think that they're going to say it's like a 3.69. Nice.
So, you had all the right numbers, but it's actually rated
9.36.
It's actually a 3.96.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
So people really like this one.
Yeah.
Well, it's not above a 4. People like it more than me.
It's right there, though. It's right there. Right there.
Yeah. It's not my finest guess, but you know what? Going first, guaranteed to get on the board.
Scrolling through the ratings, nobody else says blood flavor.
Huh.
What do they say?
Very nice smoked porter, smoked maple glazed salmon, Marionberry filled, Belgian sugar waffles, smoked raspberry pudding, cured lemon ham roast, Marionberry filled, Belgian sugar waffles, grilled salted oysters, maple glazed salmon, hickory salted double caramel flan.
What?
That's what Gino Kenny wrote for this beer. That was his exact...
I think they just tried to paste. They were just searching for a recipe, and they put it in the wrong field.
It's like their shopping list.
Yeah.
I gotta say,
those would all be things that you could do with this beer. You could make a marinade. I think it'd be pretty tasty. But
there you go. Maybe that's... Oh, my God.
Yeah.
It's a lot of smokiness, Kenny.
Getting carried away.
0.27 off for me, leaving the door pretty far open. But I'm going to be sipping on this one for the rest of the night while we let one of you two go. Who's ready to drink? Well, Tud, you got cut off mid-beer review last time. So
all right.
I think it's only fair that you pick it up from here.
There we go. Yeah, just in case. You never know.
So this week, I brought a beer by a brewery that I know I had last year during Sobuary, which is Surreal Brewing Company. And if I remember correctly, I was not a fan of the last beer that I had. I couldn't tell you what the beer was, but I remember that I did not like the beer that it was, or the beer that I got from them. But
that does sound familiar.
I decided to give them another shot and to see if maybe that was just that beer or if overall I'm not a big fan of the brewery. So this is...
Now, are you sure this isn't the same beer?
Oh, imagine.
So I don't think so, Obert. I think this is a different beer. This is their Natural Bridges Kolsch style beer. It's got a nice little picture of some type of like hoppy mountain with some snow on top.
Looks like a natural bridge.
Probably why it's called Natural Bridges. There's a hop that kind of forms the natural bridge. It's 17 calories, has 0 sugar, and 2.8 carbs. As you know, that non-alcoholic beers tell you what their stats are. There's no iron in this beer, going back to Obert's beer. But there is 2% calcium in here.
Okay.
Strong bones.
Yeah.
This can says, dare to be different. This Kolsch-style NA beer has a delicate malty character with a hint of honeydew melon and a crisp, refreshing finish. Best enjoyed at a cellar temperature between 55 degrees and 65 degrees.
Sounds fancy.
Yeah.
I know.
Honeydew, the non-alcoholic beer.
And this was also an award winner. World Beer Awards, World's Best Style winner. It does not say the year.
Yeah, I was actually getting Untapped ready to go, and it says that it was in 2019 awarded World's Best Low Alcohol and NA Beer, but it doesn't say where from.
Well, I'm pretty excited then. I'm pouring it now just to see, excited to try this thing and see if it tastes any good. So this is going to definitely fail the dinosaur test. It's.
Oh, yeah. Won't even pass the deer in headlight test.
Nope. This is. You can see right through it. I could watch the whole podcast through this beer. Just seeing if the can says anything else before I dive on in. It does not. On the nose, it kind of smells a little funky. It smells like a Kolsch with like a mix of like a sour.
That doesn't sound good.
No, but let's dive in, see how it tastes. Hopefully it doesn't taste sour.
Yeah, hopefully more honeydew, less warhead, less sour apple.
Red Solo Cup, you're not just a cup.
No, God, no.
You're my friend.
Friend. Lifelong.
Thank you for being my friend.
So this beer is it's pretty good. Light drinker. Definitely tastes. I wouldn't call it Kolschy, but I guess it doesn't say that it's Kolsch style. So I would say it's more lager style than anything. I would not call it Kolsch.
You mean like American lager?
Yeah, very much like American lager. I do taste. I get a little bit of that twinge of, I guess, honeydew melon, but it's more like honeydew like rind. Like it does. That's kind of like what the smell is too. It's a little
the least sweet part of it.
yeah. It's very
The honeydew bark.
exactly
The 17 calorie part of honeydew melon.
exactly. No, really smooth drinker though. It does have a nice malt backbone to it that it kind of fades out with. On top of that rind flavor at the beginning, very refreshing. I remember not liking this brewery before. This is definitely, I would say that I enjoyed this beer.
Okay, nice.
So, surreal. I'm glad I picked up another can just to try them again, which, leads me to a point of don't ever knock a brewery off of one beer. Make sure you try the brewery once or twice, maybe even 3 times after you have a bad beer.
So what if I go to a brewery and have like a whole bunch of bad beers? But can I then go back like months later?
So it depends. As we all know, there's the new brewery rule where if you go to a new brewery and you're not a big fan of it, you have to give it another shot like a year or 2 down the line to see if the brewer has corrected that issue. Because a lot of times when new breweries open up, it's like they're still early in the process of brewing on that equipment. So there's a possibility that it gets better after they've brewed thousands of batches on their equipment.
It's like going to a new restaurant. You're always going to get slow service and cold food somehow.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, you just got to be willing to go back. I mean, I could think of a few breweries in Connecticut that I went to originally that I wasn't a big fan of, and I've gone back since, and now I enjoy going back to them. So, then there's breweries like Fox Farm that from day one they were incredible. So
yeah,
it's hit or miss, but that's always my rule: is you have to try the brewery more than once. And if it's a new brewery, definitely space that second visit out for a while. 6 months at the minimum. 2 years is like the longest. A year is probably like the sweet spot.
In your case, it's been 1 year or 2 years.
This is 2 years. So I think I misspoke, but we did February in January of 2021. No, good beer though. I'm gonna give this solid drinker 3.5.
Okay.
Good NA beer. Still not my favorite NA beer. My favorite NA beer still goes to the Hairless Dog. Shout out to them for coming on the podcast, and they still my favorite.
Yeah.
The Citra Hoppy Lager.
The Citra Hoppy Lager was incredible.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
All right, so let's say there are 627 other people that rated this on a scale of 1 to 5.
It's not a lot.
Or 0.25 to 5, I should say. Not a lot, no.
I'm going to think people are going to be close to me. It's an NA beer. It's not going to knock it out of the park.
Right.
Probably a little under, I get 3.41.
All right, so Ober is still on the board. This was not very well received amongst the 627. 2.8.
Damn.
So, who knows?
I was getting in the territory of losing a freaking point there.
I was going to try and talk you into, well, Ober.
Yeah, I was
Ober,
like, oh, man, maybe it's close to a 4.
yeah,
I don't
you
know.
never know. Yeah, that was
At least a 3.75. Definitely higher than a 3.79.
definitely higher than 379.
Damn.
You go lower than 379, you're a fool.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll say that I disagree. I think that this is an okay NA beer.
do you think it's NA bias? Like it's something like that. Or
I think there's definitely some of that built in there, but like
Yeah.
the hairless dog was knocked too, if I remember correctly.
That's
and
true.
their beers
That's
were
true.
pretty good.
Yeah, that is true. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, and we always get into the struggle of how do you rate something on Untapped. If you gave me this in a glass and I was completely blindfolded, maybe then it's a 2.8. But then you tell me, oh yeah, this is like a 0-calorie flavored with honeydew rind, non-alcoholic beer. Then it's like, oh, okay, maybe it's a little higher.
Right.
You know.
Right. Not bad for what it is. So.
And I will say, just to summarize here for a quick second, this is one of those beers that may contain less than 0.5% of alcohol. So we know that unlike the hairless dog, which purposely brews their beer to have no alcohol, this was brewed as a normal beer and then had the alcohol removed, thus giving it the trace amounts of alcohol remaining.
Right.
So I just want to put that out there because most NA beers do this. The hairless dog, as we remember, is one of the only few breweries, I think the only one I've seen, that does not contain any alcohol.
Yeah, they do that different process of making. I don't even know if I want to call it brewing their beer.
Right. Cool.
But okay, so 2 reviews down. Windows
I made it through the review.
Still open.
Yep. Ted's still here.
Ted's still here.
Well,
Let's see if we can keep this podcast recording going while we go over to Chris's beer.
Yeah, let's see. Let's hopefully. All right, so I'm actually, I decided a week or two ago that I was gonna partake in Febtober, February. Just
February.
Sober Febtober.
Sober Febtober. There we go.
And just like that, we get an episode name.
Yep. I have a few non-alcoholic options. This is one that I picked up a pack of these a little while ago. But I wanted to bring it to the podcast, and I have a groovy stout, GRU with the umlaut VI.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's very fancy.
Ooh, very fancy looking.
Yeah.
Looks very new age.
Yeah. 0% alcohol, 100% beer. But I think, like Tud attested to, it says less than 5% alcohol. So I believe it's same ordeal as theirs. As
I will say, you are by far the most expert NA beer drinker of the podcast, correct?
I think it's fair to say Chris has had the most of all of us for NA beers.
Really? You think so?
Yeah.
I
still have hairless dogs in the fridge, so.
Oh, no, those are all gone. Those are definitely all gone.
I think you're like the connoisseur, though. Like, I think you've tried the most.
I'm always enticed by them, especially now that they're becoming more mainstream, like, because I'm a hipster and stuff. But most
Coolest guy.
it's also nice, like, if you're in the middle of streaming or whatever it may be, grab a non-alcoholic to space yourself out. This one has 20 milligrams of calcium, so
Ooh.
the bones are gonna be super strong. Also potassium, which is good because you don't have to bye bananas. All you need is this beer. But 45 calories for the can. Here we go.
I had no potassium in mine.
I do enjoy the vitamin portion of the non-alcoholic beer reviews.
I do have a gram of protein in mine, though, so getting buff and swole.
No, damn it, no protein in mine. Damn it. All right, here we go.
Funny, Untapped gives it 0.4% ABV.
It does say less than 0.5%, so that
I guess
ain't lying.
that's accurate then.
Not lying.
Just reading the description on here, it sounds really good.
So
Hey, I know that glass.
yeah, drink made for one person. That person is you. Oh, I like that. I like the I'm reading the side of the can. It's enjoy this groovy. We made it for you. That's what they say. Oh, thank you. Appreciate this.
When they brewed it, they said this is the beer for Chris.
Yeah, that's right. This one's made especially for him. So, dark as night, as you can see in the webcam. We'll do the T-Rex test in a second. But the head gone, immediately gone, just immediately. It fizzled away in no time. It looks like flat Coke.
The least crisp pour that's ever been crisp poured.
Exactly. So let's go ahead and pull this up. Okay, here we go. Yep. You might be able to see a smidge. No, you're safe. No T-Rex is getting you. But it is dark as night. I took it out a little bit early, not too early, so it's probably maybe a little bit cold for being a stout. I don't get anything on the nose taste. Now, mind you, I am getting over a cold, so who knows? How my nose taste is affected, but I'm not getting much at all off of it. So, but here we go. Cheers. Let's see. My first
Cheers.
alcohol.
Cheers,
this month.
guys.
God.
Or non-alcohol.
Red Solo Cup. I fill you up.
I predict that Chris will like this one.
I'm actually struggling right now because I'm not getting a ton of flavor, and I really don't know at this point if it's because of my taste or not. But
Well, how does this sound? How about I read off some of the things from Untapped, and we'll see if maybe armed with that knowledge, if you can pull some of these things out.
okay, yeah, let's see, because I'm getting very, very little.
Yeah, they say we start off our stout batch with Abbey malt, traditionally known for its mild nuttiness and notes of honey. We then add roasted barley and chocolate malt and brew our beer into a dry, full-bodied, non-alcoholic stout. This dark ale contains hints of toasted malt along with mild oat and coffee notes. So, yeah, it sounds very subtle to me.
And it
did
is.
say a lot of flavors, but a lot of subtle flavors.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's definitely something there. So I'm not gonna lie. When I had this beer at first, I did not like it. So, because I had a few of them. I think I had a 4-pack or a 6-pack or something like that. And I remember I didn't really care for it. Now, granted, I was drinking it amongst other beers. So, like, big flavorful beers, IPAs, whatever. And you mix one of these in, it can probably pale in comparison. But this isn't bad. I'm definitely not getting a ton off of it, though. Even, like, I expected a little bit of something. It's not, but it's definitely not as bad as I remember it being, which is good, I guess, but very, very, very light flavors. Like maybe a little bit of like that maltiness, that roasty toastiness that they talk about a little bit. But even then, it's like it's also got a weird, like the carbonation is weird in it, which I think is why the head dissipated so quickly. It's like almost gives you a lot of like mouth Pringles, like.
The tiny bubbles.
Yeah, the tiny bubbles,
champagne
bubbles. Yeah, so it gives you a lot of those too. Overall, it's good. I do question if my taste buds are affected by my illness, but because they were earlier, I will say that. But I mean, it's fine. I'm gonna give it a 3. It's fine. I mean, it's just fine. Like, I mean, I hope. I don't know. It's fine.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Icy Groovy also makes an IPA. Is this the first? They have a few other. They have like 6 different beers on Untapped. Is this the only Groovy you've had?
Yeah, this is the only one I had. They had, I think, when I went, because I got it at Total Wine, and I think they had this and the IPA, if I'm not mistaken. And I opted for the stout. I figured a stout being darker, probably the smarter non-alcoholic choice. So,
yeah, I tend to agree.
Yeah.
But okay, 741 check-ins.
Oh wow, okay, more than I thought.
Officially the most of the episode.
Right. I don't know. I feel like. Oh my god.
I don't know if that says something about the 3 of us.
Damn, I feel like this is. I feel like I'm really low, and I'm gonna mess up. I'm gonna screw this up because it's wide open, and I'm like, I have no idea. Like Obert's was Obert was a real beer though. I can't forget that. I'm letting myself forget that. Oh, Tud's was really low. I don't know. I'm gonna say it's a 3-2-1.
Well, looks like I'm the big winner tonight. 2.88.
Golly, oh my goodness.
I'm
Yeah,
surprised
these
you didn't
NA
go lower.
beers.
I thought you were just going to dive right in the same area
I
as me.
I thought about it, but I don't know. I was afraid it was going to be higher. I don't know.
Yeah, I think go with your gut. You can't be upset if you go with your gut, and if your gut's wrong, your gut's wrong. But
Damn.
yeah, I think Untapped is probably a little wrong on both of your beers. I think it's not the right scale. It's not.
Yeah, that's true.
It's hard to measure. Especially when we do things like with seltzers or ciders. It's like Untapped isn't really where these ratings belong. We need to invent CIDR cider for.
I will say, I mean, even Athletic has some they're lower rated as well.
Yeah, because to be clear, like non-alcoholic beer isn't as good as alcoholic beer.
Well, so the reason I was quiet for the past couple minutes is I wanted to know how this was done. Like, how do they brew the beer and then take the alcohol out?
Let's go to Tud's chemistry corner.
So
Tud Nye, the science guy.
Tud Nye, the science guy.
Tud.
So there's a few different ways that they do it. So I looked up on a home brewer's website more so because I wanted to see if I could do it. And there are two main ways that it seems to be done. One is through reverse osmosis or filtration, which is the more expensive of the two ways. And this is a way that a lot of the breweries do it if they're good. I'm imagining this is what most breweries do. Probably Athletic for sure, because they're always rated as like the best non-alcoholic brewery out there. And what this is beer is filtered through a membrane that separates alcohol and water from the ferment. The alcohol is then distillated out, and the water that is filtered out can be put back into the fermentation mixture. That's how that's done. But that's extremely expensive and not very economical for a home brewer. So what they recommend to do is the boil-off method. And this is what they say is the most common way to remove alcohol from beer. In the boil-off method, the beer is heated to 173 degrees Fahrenheit after fermentation, where the alcohol can burn off and evaporate from the beer until it reaches the desired below 0.5% ABV. The issue that they say that happens with this is that the beer ends up tasting flat and without the complexity of beers that we've come to know and love, which leads me to believe that some of these beers, maybe Surreal, maybe Govee, maybe that's what they're doing, is they're doing the boil-off method, which, if you're not athletic, maybe you can't I don't know how much the membrane costs. I haven't looked this up, but maybe it's not economical to do it. So maybe that's why we're getting a lot of flat flavors. So what they say to do is, after you do it, you then have to carbonate the beer and add in whether that's via adding more activated yeast.
You force carb it.
Or
no, because if you activate yeast, then it's going to give alcohol.
They say that even in the article that you can add in already pre-activated yeast to kind of make CO2, or add priming sugar and bottle it. So it doesn't seem like an easy way to do it. I mean, I guess you could do it in a keg, kind of like how I would do it if I was trying to carbonate an IPA. I don't bottle or anything anymore. I just use a keg and just force carbonate it with CO2. It just doesn't seem to be a good method for home brewers to brew their own non-alcoholic beer.
Right.
But I was curious because I wanted to try it, because I was thinking, well, I wonder if I could brew a really good non-alcoholic stout, because Chris was complaining about his. Because stouts they're not the most complicated beers to make. You just have to basically overpower it with dark flavors.
Yeah. Well, I think so. Both of those methods, but especially the boil-off method, when you raise your beer up to that temperature, a lot of the chemical compounds that form in the brewing process and the fermentation process, other than alcohol, get broken down at those high temperatures. So think of those flavors that you've developed in the beer, right? A lot of that stuff is going to get broken down. And same when you go through the RO method, right? Through the membrane, you're going to, in addition to removing the alcohol, you're also going to be taking out some of the flavor, which is why it's hard to make a good one, because brewing is awesome. And we just, God intended beer to have alcohol in it, I guess.
Oh, hang on. There is one more method. This is not very commonly used, but it's called vacuum distillation. So maybe as the engineer of the pod, maybe you can explain this a little bit better, but it's similar to the boil-off method, except the beer is inside a vessel where a vacuum is applied. This reduces the boiling point to the alcohol to around 120 degrees or less. So, I mean, maybe that breaks down the flavors a little bit less.
Yeah, that's the reason why they do it, because even though obviously you can think, right, it's going to be more expensive, you still have to boil it, but you also have to hold this vacuum. But if you keep things to that lower temperature, you're not going to get the same breakdown of compounds that you would at, these warmer temperatures.
But how does that work?
Well, because you're lowering the vapor pressure, you're lowering the boiling point.
Right, but if you're lowering everything, wouldn't that lower the breakdown point of a lot of those flavors too? Because if alcohol is willing to boil off at that temperature, wouldn't the flavors also boil off at that temperature as well?
Right. Well, it's not so much the boiling off. It's just think about like these long hydrocarbon chains of which is really what these flavors are, right? It's just like long complex carbon and hydrogen.
I'm thinking about
chains.
those little things that we used to draw in science class and
exactly, right? Those are delicate, and at the high temperatures, that's when think when temperature's hotter, more atoms are colliding, right? And that's what can break these chains apart. So if you can keep that temperature lower, you won't have the same amount of breakdown as compounds, even though alcohol, which has that lower vapor pressure, will evaporate.
Huh. Yeah, because that was going to be my question: is if if it all boils at 120 instead of 173, wouldn't that do the same thing to the longer non-alcohol complex chains?
I mean, it does to an extent, right? That's why, again, God intended alcohol to have beer in it. That and I'm no
beer to have alcohol in it.
Yes, thank you. I'm no food scientist or anything, but I think it definitely would help, right? It's got to help, otherwise they wouldn't bother to do that process. But it is interesting that none of those describe what Hairless Dog does, because they use an alcohol-free system where they're not fermenting beer.
As he described, they do everything short of pitching the yeast and letting it ferment. So they're doing the boil, right. They're making basically you're drinking wort. They're just making a really dull wort. And then carbonating it and serving it. So, I mean, I guess that you could do that. Just use a lot less sugars, I guess. So you make it taste like, you make a wort that tastes like beer already. That's right. Which is difficult, but probably the easiest way for a home brewer to do it, because you just have to make it not so sweet.
I don't know if it's that easy, to be honest, because otherwise everybody would be doing it that way.
True. I'm curious. I want to know, like, Athletic, for example, whatever method they're using, they have to collect that alcohol somewhere. They're doing something with that, especially if they're doing the reverse osmosis method. What are they doing with that alcohol when it's done and it's out of the beer?
Probably selling it to like chemists or something. Whatever you do with pure 100% ethanol, they're doing.
I'd like to try some.
Well, you can get some Everclear. That's basically the same thing.
I know, but I would love to go there and be like, hey, first of all, I want to try your beer before you remove the alcohol from it, because I want to know what that tastes like. Because maybe they're really good brewers. I'm assuming they are, because their beers are not terrible. So I'm assuming that the beers before they remove everything are probably pretty good. And then I would like to try the alcohol afterwards and see kind of what it tastes like.
Yeah.
It's got to have some hoppy flavor to it. Like, imagine getting a hoppy Everclear.
There is a hoppy gin that's sold by me from a local collaboration between a local brewery and a local distillery. So it's nice. It's a subtle flavor, but there's a reason why we don't add hops to our alcohol. I mean, our distilled spirits.
Maybe one day we'll get this guy on and we can ask him direct.
Which guy?
The guy who owns Athletic. I mean, he's a local Connecticut guy, so maybe he wants to hop on with 3 Connecticut locals and talk to us about non-alcoholic beer.
For sure. It's kind of our niche when we have guests. Yeah. But okay, I think it's time. We didn't get here last episode, but the time has come to dust off that 3-handled Frosty mug of wisdom, get all that freezer dust off of it, bust it out, fill it up with the stuff we're liking, loving, enjoying, wanting in our lives, wanting in your lives. Wisdom, all that goodness. And to kick it off, let's hear from Jordan. Jordan, take it away.
Test your handle. Test your handle. Test your handle. Test your handle. Mug of wisdom! Drink. Mug of wisdom!
Okay, thank you, Jordan. Man, that song never gets old.
No, definitely not. And you can't even go over and thank them anymore because, they got rid of their podcast. So make sure you head over and just watch old episodes on YouTube.
There you go.
Next shower. But okay.
That's what Chris does. That's why it takes so long.
That's right.
Yeah, I was watching full podcasts. But I achieved victory this week. I'm on the board. Catching up. 3 behind Chris. Still got a ways to go to catch up to Tud. But so I'm going to go first this week. Going to go with the show everybody's been talking about. That's The Last of Us.
That was my handle, too. That sucks.
Yeah. Well, I was going to make it my handle on the...
Oh, mine too, man. Oh, well, I guess it's
Patreon
all of our handles.
episode.
It's also going to be my handle on that episode, too.
But but I didn't have one for my drinking alone episode, so I'm using it here instead. It's very good. I've never played the game. Maybe that could be your handle, Tud. You could do that. You can have the game.
I'm pretty sure I made both the handles my game, or both games my handles when they've come out.
I think you did.
I've played through them both. They're both excellent.
Yeah. So without getting into any spoilers, it's an HBO drama that takes place, with basically, I think I can say this without really spoiling anything, that it's a, zombie apocalypse type story. Takes place, it's interesting because the majority of the story takes place 20 years after the outbreak. So that's kind of a fun time most of the stuff is like right when the zombies happen. This is, the zombies have had time to become a part of
society,
destroy society and pick up there. But great acting. What's that guy's name?
That's Pedro Pascal. He also plays the Mandalorian.
Right. He's in the Mandalorian. He was in Game of Thrones. He was the Viper. Was that his name?
Yeah, Prince Oberyn.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah, he's a great actor.
He's in two of the biggest television shows on TV at the moment, so more power to him.
Yeah.
Just to quickly jump in.
Wait, no, he wasn't in Mandalorian. He's in
he's
the Rogue One.
He is the Mandalorian.
I thought he was the Rogue One guy.
He might be in Rogue One too, but he is the guy who plays the Mandalorian.
Oh, okay. It's hard to know with the mask on and stuff.
I will say that for anybody who's played the Last of Us games, the first one in particular, given the TV show, the first episode, you will feel like you are watching the video game. Almost like the first 30 to 40 minutes of the first episode is almost like a almost true to the moment grab from the game, minus when she goes and repairs the watch. Basically everything else is taken right out of the video game, which was also done by actors in the video game too, just with the graphics put over them. But
oh, cool.
They basically just reshot the first 20 minutes of the video game into the TV show. It's actually pretty neat.
There is one scene where they're in a car and they're being surrounded by the zombies. That's shot like you're in a video game. Like it was like, this is definitely feels like you're playing this in a video game.
That's exactly that's the first time you get to take control of the character is driving the car. That's cool. It's pretty neat. If you haven't played The Last of Us, I recommend that, by the way, Obert, for you in particular.
Yeah. No, I plan on it after watching the show. But weirdly, I don't want spoilers for the show, so I want to finish the season of the show before I play the game. And then I can spoil season 2 all I want. But
so they're gonna do it. Season 1 is gonna be the whole first game is what I understand, and season 2 is gonna be the whole second game.
Nice. Yeah, I'm looking. It's as of the time of this recording, we're only 4 episodes into the season, but it's off to a strong start. Okay, well, sorry to steal your handle there, Tud. I had a feeling it might be yours, but
it's okay. I have a backup.
All right, well, let's hear it. What do you got?
So I'm going to do another TV show, just because it was one that I probably should have done before, but we just finished it. We finished the second season, so we're all caught up. Is White Lotus, the White Lotus, or whatever you want to call it. It's on HBO Max, same as The Last of Us. Basically, it's a television show where the first season takes place on a resort in Mexico, and the Hawaii. You're right. The first season takes place on a resort in Hawaii, and the second season takes place on a resort in Taormina, and then Palermo in Sicily. Basically, what it is they're two separately contained stories, but there's a couple characters, 2 in particular, that cross over between seasons. And it's over. It seems like you've seen this. How would you? It's kind of a mystery, a kind of a drama comedy, kind of built into one thing where you see the end of you see how the season's going to end in episode 1, and then they kind of Tarantino it, and they bring you back to the beginning, and you kind of try to figure out how they're going to get to how the season began throughout the series. And they're each season 7 episodes long. Each one takes place over the course of one day during the course of a week that these people are at this resort, and you kind of work your way from the back to the beginning, then all the way back to where the story starts. Pretty unique. Jennifer Coolidge I guess she's kind of the lead actress. I don't like her as an actress. For those of you who don't know who Jennifer Coolidge is, she is the one who plays Stifler's mom in American Pie. I think everybody will, from there on, know who she is. Even Chris knows who that is. But it's a good show. It's a really good show. I like the first season more than I like the second season. But go check it out. It's on HBO Max. They're making a third season as well. Pretty funny, pretty good. Like I said, first season, greater sign, second season.
Oh, that's interesting. I've heard a lot of people like the second season better than the first, and I haven't watched season 2 yet.
I don't think so. I think the ending of season 2 up until the last episode, really good. I don't like the ending.
Okay. No, I'll keep that in mind because it's in my queue.
You'll like it.
But all right. Well, Chris,
last one's
third handle.
Last man standing.
That's right. So I didn't bring a TV show because I didn't realize there was a theme this week. But I do have something that has made my life and desk a little bit better. So recently on stream, I was complaining because I have this giant keyboard. Look at this thing. It's like a white whale of a keyboard. Look at it. It's giant, right? Huge. The biggest keyboard.
I would say it's a normal size keyboard.
Yeah, it's like
you got a full number pad on there.
The largest keyboard.
I think I have like the same exact keyboard.
I think I do too.
The largest keyboard that's ever keyboarded. Well,
it was the cheapest wireless keyboard on Amazon.
Oh yeah, no, that's exactly
but
what
made by Logitech. I'll put that out there.
Yeah, no, that's true. But when I'm opening Pokemon cards or whatever, it's too big. It's too big. So I put it off to the side, and then if I had to use it, I'd pick it back up. So someone in my chat recommended getting one of these mini keyboards, and I'm not gonna lie, guys, I kind of love it because look at this, super compact. It's like 60%. It is wired, but whatever. It's 60% smaller than your normal size keyboard. You do lose the number pad on the side, but for quick usage, it works pretty well. Takes up much less desk space.
Can I ask a question? Is there arrows on that keyboard?
There's not physical arrows, but they have one of those alt function things that you could use if you wanted to. So
you have to hold down the function key to use the arrows?
I think you can. I don't use it
turn
very
it,
often,
lock
obviously.
it.
I think you could. Yeah, there's a lock. There's a little lock on it. But yeah. So I really like it, especially when I'm live streaming, because normally I don't need to do a ton. I just need to maybe type a couple things in chat or whatever. So it's perfect for that. Takes up a very small amount of desk space. So if you're someone that struggles with desk space, this might be an option for you. But check it out. And they're pretty cheap. This one was $20. So it wasn't.
Yeah, you're only paying for 60% of a keyboard.
Yeah, that's true. It was $20, and it has the LED lights 60% and stuff.
Of the keyboard,
it's got the pretty colors. I like that.
600% of the price.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Well, I mean, honestly, the Razer mini keyboard is $150. Well,
Razer's ridiculous with everything.
Yeah, no, I know. This one was $20. We'll put a link in the show notes of the one that I got. There's a bunch of other fun colors too. I got black. It's easy.
I saw some colors in there.
Oh yeah, no, there's RGBs in there. Look at it. Look at this bad boy. Making all those fun colors in there. Yeah, no, there's colors in it, but I mean, I just got the black standard keyboard. They have it in red and blue and pink and yellow and whatever. So if you guys, if you declutter your desk, get rid of that big crappy keyboard. The one thing I will say, I don't like the enter key as much because I'm so used to the giant enter key. I feel like that other keyboard's 60% enter key. I feel like this enter keys. Sometimes I just miss it and I hit the backslash.
See, I feel like I would miss the number. I use the number pad too much, I think, to go small.
That's fair.
I think it's not for everybody, myself included. That the arrows I couldn't go without the arrows. I could see eliminating the number pad, but I need me some arrows, and I actually use the home and delete keys quite a bit too.
But if I was doing what Chris is, his use case is
right.
It's built for
yeah,
this.
It's not for everybody, but for Chris, people in Chris's position.
99% of the handles, it's literally just for me and one other person. So,
but it works, and it seems like it's a good. I would be really nervous to buy a $20 keyboard and hope that it worked.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to hear that this brand Snpurdiri, Snpurdiri. I'm glad that they're
household name Snpurdiri.
I'm glad that they make a good keyboard. Because I mean, in all honesty, that's why I own Logitech keyboards, is because I know Logitech makes a good keyboard.
They do.
Yeah.
Same thing with Razer. I know they make good keyboards.
pay out
But
the
I'm
butt
glad
for
that
'em.
I'm glad Snpurdiri makes a really good keyboard.
Yeah. You know, household name. Everybody loves him.
Would be really, what is it, USB or USB-C or?
It's USB.
I'm looking for a good USB-C keyboard.
See, I have like 0 USB-C ports. I got too many USB-C things already. So I have the opposite problem.
Well, I'm looking for this, so the Steam Deck, sometimes the use case would be for that, where I need to type something on it, and the only input it has is USB-C. So if maybe Snpurdiri makes a good small 60% smaller USB-C
or wireless
keyboard.
at that point. Why not just do wireless? Bluetooth.
True. Maybe Snpurdiri makes a good Bluetooth one.
It's possible.
I'll have to take a look. And so with that, we'd like to thank you all for listening. I would like to thank the breweries that provided today's beers. I will thank Surreal for their Kolsch style NA beer.
I would like to thank Groovy for their 0% alcohol stout.
I'm going to thank Alaskan Brewing, a.k.a. the only real brewery on the pod today.
No. We just talked about this. They all brew beer. They just
true.
choose not to include alcohol in their beers.
Well, I want to thank Alaskan Brewery for the only beer that got above a 3.0 on today's podcast, the Smoked Porter 2022.
Please make sure you head over to social media and follow us everywhere at DAWF Podcast. Also, make sure you follow the email at dawfpodcast@gmail.com. Head over to Discord and join the live conversation over there. And head over to Patreon, and for as little as $1 a month, you can get extra episodes of Drinking Alone with Friends, called The Pregame, that are slightly shorter. And by slightly shorter, I mean about 20 minutes, roughly. Maybe a little bit more sometimes, maybe a little bit less. But it also helps benefit the podcast as well. That money comes directly to us, where we can then buy trips to Asheville, North Carolina, or more beer for us to drink, or whatever.
Or host the podcast.
Correct.
You know, I'm glad you brought that up, Ted, because I haven't posted it yet. I alluded it. My co-hosts haven't heard it yet, but this previous week on the pod, I recorded and released a Drinking Alone with Obert Mai Tai edition, where I can teach all of our patrons how to make a Mai Tai, and I also thank them because without our patrons, we don't have a podcast. We use that money to pay for our hosting fees. So thanks again, patrons, for making this whole system work.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And so with that, thank you for listening. My name's Tud.
My name's Chris.
And I'm Obert. And remember, if you're drinking alone, do it with friends. I didn't realize that if I wanted to drink alone, I could have done it on a regular episode with my sober friends for the weeks.
Well, you never asked.
It is weird being the only one with an alcoholic beer on the episode.
Now we can look at you judgingly.
That's fair. That's the best part of having non-alcoholic beer.
Yeah.
Is you get to just feel a little superior to everybody else at the party.
We're just a little bit better than you guys.
Oh, when you need a ride home because you're impaired because of all your alcohol.
Maybe you should make better life choices.
Yeah, we're all looking
Like
at you.
me.
We're all judging you.
That's fine. I don't have to drive far from here to my bed.